Hello and welcome to this short video on how to develop your group digital stories. In particular, how you can use PowerPoint to insert audio narration, how you can do that directly within PowerPoint, and also how you can record it on another device, an iPad or an iPhone or Android device, and then upload that as a separate file. I think the easiest way is actually to do it on the slide and then to share that slide and then look at how the volume across each of them can be leveled out. Ideally, if you can do it together, I think that would be fantastic, but you could also do it potentially over Microsoft Teams, which we've used last year. I think you could all join together in Microsoft Teams and do your digital stories with one person doing the recording. That could possibly work and is worth trying. So the first thing to do is to open PowerPoint. So here it is, I've opened PowerPoint. And then the second thing to do is really go to design. And I'm just going to maximize it so it's just easier for you to see, and pick a design. You don't have to choose these designs, and this is really nice. The design ideas are very nice. So for example, I will pick this one, which is quite nice, and so I'm going to add my title, Guide to Developing a Group Digital Story. Now, of course, it's quite big, so I'm going to have to make this smaller. So I'm just going to go into Home. I'm going to reduce the font size to something that I think will fit. That's a bit too small, so I'll make that a bit bigger, 54. Maybe a little bit bigger than that, 72. Yeah. So that's fine, and I could have a subtitle, but I'm not going to add that, and instead I'm actually going to just delete it so it's not too busy on the slide. Oops, as you can see, the background actually moves. I don't want it to move, so I can make sure if I had it like this, I can just go edit undo and it will go back. So I'm just going to move it further down, but I can't, you see, because this format, that is actually fixed. So I'm going to leave it there. So that's the problem with the designing using the design ideas here, that some things are fixed and they're not so easy to use. But the other advantage is I could change it. So here it is. This is quite a nice one. Try and pick something relevant. You can get different design ideas. You can go down here and say new designs, and you can see here. And if I close it and go back in, so often what I will do is actually, create a new presentation, and then go into designs, and you'll see you've got a different set of designs, a much more interesting set of designs. So I'm going to use this one. I do like that one, so I'm going to do that. Guide. I'm going to move away from that, guide to developing your group digital story. I don't need a subtitle, so I'm just going to, well, actually I will put a subtitle, put by UWL Public Health Team, and I'm going to make that italics. So that's great. So I've got my first slide. I don't want any more of these, so I'm just going to move away from that. And then I'm going to do a second slide, and the slide I'm going to do is this one. So you can see here it's a very dark slide, but that's totally fine. So if I did want to change the background color of this slide, then what I can do is right click my mouse and go to Format Background. That's the easiest way. And then this is a picture or texture fill, that's what it is at the moment. I could do a solid fill, as you can see here, and then I could change the colours here to whatever I wanted. And I can also use this transparency effect. That's often useful when you've got something behind something else, so you want it to look out. Again, be restrained with the colours. Try and keep to a single colour or a few colours. Don't try and have every slide a different colour. It will get very distracting and it will look unprofessional. And really, you want it is meant to be a professional set of slides. I will have my introduction, and then on this page I will have background, and my last page I will have strengths and weaknesses, and here will be my strengths, and here will be my weaknesses, though I don't really need to spell it out. So first of all you need to design your slides. That's really what this point is. And once you've designed your slides and you've got them and you've got the content that you want to develop on the slides, you then need to develop your script. What are you going to say? So on this one I'm going to say something about what this is and who is presenting this. So then you go into insert, and in insert you'll see audio here. You can also insert video, but I would just suggest simply keep the images static and then use audio here. Remember, you have to create most of the things. If you can ideally use your own photos, great. You can use, the more of your own stuff you use, the more individual it's going to be. And remember, there's a copyright issue. So in real life, you do have to watch for copyright. And so there is a way to search for images that are copyrighted that I will show you after I show you how to develop the PowerPoint. So you can use audio browser. Is just a list of what PowerPoint can find that is audio on your computer. So it's not that useful. Instead, it's better to just either use audio from files, so where you have already pre-recorded it, maybe you've done it on your iPhone or your tablet device, iPad or Samsung tablet or whatever you have, or on your computer, and then you have saved that as an MP3 file, and then you can upload it and include it here. The simplest way to do it though is to go into audio and then record audio. So I will do that. I'm going to click this and I'm going to start recording my audio. Hello and welcome. This is a guide to developing your group digital story. It's been developed by the UWL Public Health team, and my name is Salim, and I'll be narrating you through this video guide. So you can see here, I stopped the recording, then I pressed insert, and then now here is where the audio recording is. So move it to the end, don't leave it on the edge. It doesn't matter, but I think in terms of working with it, while you're developing it, it is better to do this. When you convert it into a video, it won't matter where this icon is, because the icon disappears. So let's hear my recording just to make sure. Now I can increase the volume and I can decrease the volume using this, so that's really worth doing. Otherwise, let's just listen to it. Hello and welcome. This is a guide to developing your group digital story. It's been developed by the UWL Public Health team, and my name is Salim, and I'll be narrating you through this video guide. So that seems okay. I'm happy with that. If I wasn't happy with that, you could then re-record it. And so if you do want to delete this, click on it and then just press the back delete button on your keyboard and it will delete. And of course, if you do it accidentally, you can always go back with edit undo. So here we are. So let's go on to the second slide. So the second slide is my introduction. So what am I going to talk about? So I'm going to talk about how to record and insert audio into Microsoft PowerPoint slides. And then I'm also going to talk about how you can use a transition effect between slides, how you can use the timing function for each slide to test that your recordings and the way you are presenting things works well, how to export your completed digital story slides, and to make them a video. Lastly, the importance of being cautious and careful in using some of the transition effects. And I do have one thing as well to use the transition effects, and the second thing is how to insert images and use animation effects. So here's my slide. So again, I can record this. Introduction. This video guide looks at how to record and insert audio into Microsoft PowerPoint slides, how to insert images and use animation effects, how you can use a transition effect between slides, how you can use a timing function for each slide to test that your recordings and the way you are presenting things works well, how to export your completed digital story slides to make them into a video, and lastly, the importance of being cautious and careful and restrained in using some of the transition and animation effects. So here now in the background, I've decided I think I'll use an image. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to find an image on my computer. The easiest is I've got a number of screenshots, so that'll be the easiest thing for me to put. So I'm going to put this screenshot that I have here. That's nice. And maybe I want to add another one. So again, I'm going to go and find another image, insert picture from file, find the image that I want. I'm going to put this one in. That's fine. So now if I look at my slides, I'm just going to show you my slides. So you can see here I've switched on the slides and I'm going to use the spacebar to move it along. Hello and welcome. This is a guide to developing. I'm going to use the spacebar again, and then I have to press it again, and then the introduction. This video guide looks at, and then I've gone to the third one. So in this case, every time I'm moving a slide, I'm pressing the spacebar or the next button, and then every time I want the narration, I have to press the spacebar again. So it's not automatic. And you can see here the images have just presented immediately. So let's say I want to actually add an animation. So I'm going to go to animation, I'm going to choose the thing, and so what I can do is I can make it do a few things. I can do that, just find a better one. Yes, my favorite one is fade or fly in. So you can see here, and then I can add another one here. Let me do a dissolve. Now really don't do so many. I'm just going to open this animation pane here because then it shows me the two images. So you can see there's an image here and an image here, and you can see there's a number here and a number here. So 1 means that one. See, it's highlighted, there's a little bit of orange there. If I highlight this second one, you can see again, it's a little bit of orange there. So this tells me what the content is. Now, while you're testing it, what you can do is go into this effects, and timing is the one. So at the moment, I have to click on it to get it to move. So instead of that, I'm going to do after previous. So when the slide appears and is changed, it will automatically move on and show this image. Now, what I have done is move it from the bottom, but I could actually ask it to come from the top or the left. So I'm going to do it from the left. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for the other one. So after previous, so it will come after the first photographs, the first image that I have here. And so if I want to test it, I can place this. So you can see here, I'm going to do it again. So this one isn't working for some reason, so I just need to go into that. I'm not sure why. From left, don't dim, after previous, no second. So I'm going to just delay that for about 3 seconds. So let's see what happens. Oops, no, that hasn't worked. So I need to understand why that's happening, so let me just start that again. There it is, that has worked. I'm not sure why it didn't do it before, so let me just try that again. Perfect. So sometimes there are glitches, just do it slowly, test it out. So you can see here that's worked well and it looks quite nice. Don't overdo this, but you can do a range of different things with this function. So that's animations here, and you can basically move animations. Now, as I said, I haven't used the more exotic ones, so you can do things like this. So you can see that's very interesting. So that's a slightly different thing. So if we now look at this, see what happens. Try and use one approach. I've used 2 here, but really I should just use the same one. So I'm going to just use the same one. Yeah, I'm going to use the zoom in, because the more changes and differences there are, the more distracting it becomes. Because remember, the content is the key thing here. Yeah, oops, again, it hasn't worked. So let me just redo that. I think it's this one. Yeah, let me just test that. Delete that one. So let me just test that. Now, as you can see, the numbers have changed. Again, I'm not sure why. Some of these things happen and it's not clear why. But let me just play it again. That's nice, perfect. So you can see here I've tested it out. They're both doing the same thing, and we can move on to the next aspect. So the next aspect is the transitioning. So we want to move from this slide to this slide. So we want to do a transition. So what we can do is pick a transition. And again, there's some very interesting ones here. There's some very simple ones, like a random bars. So I can pick that. So again, when I go on to the first page and then click. Hello and welcome. This is a guide to develop. You can see here you've got that ripple effect. If I move to the third one, there it's not there. If I move to the fourth one, it's not there. So if I want to add that ripple effect that I've added to this one, the ripple, can you see here? So when I went into transitions, not animations, but transitions, now transitions between slides, I've used random bars. So what I have to do is click there and I press shift key, the shift key, and then I click that one, so I've selected both, and then I've picked random bars. That means it will automatically do this as I've just shown you there. If I wanted to change that, then I could press Shift and click on all three and do something else. So for example, let me do something that is very that I wouldn't normally do for teaching stuff, but may be nice for a digital story. But of course, if all of you do it, so let's see that. So let's go. Now at the moment I'm still pressing.
Hello and welcome.
I'm still pressing the space bar, so I am having to do that. But when you do the video, you don't have to worry about this because the video will automatically do the transitions. So every time the narration's there, I'm actually doing it, pressing the space bar. Now you saw in the last one, I'm just going to go back. That's there, go there, that's background. And then if I do that again, so for the background, it did not appear, you couldn't see it, probably because it was black. So with this background, you actually did not see the image disappear away. I'm just going to double check that I actually used the aeroplane. Yes, it's there. There it is. Strengths and weaknesses. And did I use it for there? Yes, I did. So let me just again, try it again. Let's have a look. So we should get the aeroplane effect happening.
Hello.
There it is, aeroplane effect happening after the second space bar because I don't want to listen to my narration just yet. Yeah, and then finished. So again, not sure what's happening here. I just want to double check. After previous, yeah. On click, it should be after previous. So you saw that I had to actually press the space bar to get this to move. So I'm just going to double check this again now. So there it is, the background. Now the image should appear automatically. I'm not touching the screen. Perfect. Now again, if I want to time it so that one appears first and then delay the other one appearing, I can do that here. So if I go to the second one, I can say delay this by 3 seconds. Now if I want to add a narration, and I'm just going to make up the narration here. Evidence-informed public health is really important, as is undertaking a needs assessment. And on the left-hand side, we have an image of what the key aspects of evidence-informed public health are. And on the right-hand side, we have an example of a community health profile that we can use to do an epidemiological needs assessment. Again, I will test the recording for this, make sure I'm happy with it. And if I'm not happy with it, then I will click it to highlight it like this. And then I'll press the back delete button on my keyboard to delete it. But I'm happy with that. So here it is. Here's my slide. Now you don't have to do anything more. Once you've finished, you're happy with the slides, you've worked it through, you've tested it out. You go to File, and you export. And you export not as a PDF, but as an MP4 file. Yeah, and so I will call this Guide to Developing a Digital Story version 2020-21. 0.01. So I put 0.01 because if I was going to change this and create a new version of this, then I would call it 0.02 and 0.03 and 0.04, so I know that what the latest version is. You can also use dates as your way. So I've done my digital story. So let's have a look now and let's play that digital story. Find that digital story. Remember to make sure you save it appropriately. Guide to Developing. So I'm going to double click it. One thing to note is while I've pressed export, at the bottom here, you can see that the PowerPoint is converting this into a video. So you can see here the blue bar is going, and once it's complete, only then can you open it. So now it's completed. So I can close this or save it. Actually, I should save it. That's really important. In fact, you should try and save it as soon as you do it. This is bad practice. So how guide to developing a group digital story 2020-21.01. That's just telling me that that's the first version I've used, and I save it in the place that I need to save it, which is here, and I've saved that. Excellent. And then now I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go to digital story that I've developed, and here it is. So let's play it. I'm going to maximize it. Let's play it and let's see if it works.
Hello and welcome. This is a guide to developing your group digital story. It's been developed by the UWL Public Health team, and my name is Salim, and I'll be narrating you through this video guide. Introduction. This video guide looks at how to record and insert audio into Microsoft PowerPoint slides, how to insert images and use animation effects, how you can use a transition effect between slides, how you can use the timing function for each slide to test that your recordings and the way you are presenting things works well, how to export your completed digital story slides to make them into a video, and lastly, the importance of being cautious and careful and restrained in using some of the transition and animation effects. Evidence-informed public health is really important, as is undertaking a needs assessment. And on the left-hand side, we have an image of what the key aspects of evidence-informed public health are. And on the right-hand side, we have an example of a community health profile that we can use to do an epidemiological needs assessment.
And now that's complete. So that wasn't too bad. Obviously, if it doesn't work out, I'm just going to escape out of this, then you may need to go back to your PowerPoint slides and to redo them and to improve them. I hope this was useful. I'm just going to, the last thing I just want to just reiterate is try and, when you're making the PowerPoint slides interesting and nice looking, and that's really important. We want it visually arresting, so don't have lots of text. Yeah, that's going to be really boring if you've got lots of text like I've got here. Remember, you're going to narrate it, so you don't need to have all this text. What we want is some nice visuals that link nicely to your digital story. The other thing, as I said, was try not to use too many of these very interesting, very nice. So, for example, one of them, which I really like, but I think it would be quite distracting, is, for example, crushing. Yeah, so you can use it, but remember, if you put in lots and lots of different ones instead of just a single one, then it will be very distracting. So, for each slide, use the same transition effect. When you're using animations in terms of for photos, again, maybe use one or two different styles on different slides, but on the same slide use the same style. Yeah, don't mix too much in, because then it does become very distracting from the content. Remember, your narration is the key thing, and that we're really interested in listening to. Now, where might you find non-copyright photos? I think that's really important. Ideally, we want you to go out and take some pictures, but obviously with COVID, but also with the way things are, it might be difficult for you. Yes, logos, by all means, when you're talking about stakeholders, yes, you can copy and paste logos. So if I just go into Safari here, but you can go into Google Chrome. Well, let me go into Google Chrome because that's what we expect you to use. So I'm going to go into Google Chrome here. I'm going to open an empty browser, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for images. So maybe I'm going to look for children play in the park. So if I do that, children, and if I go into images, I can click images here. And so I've got all these wonderful images. Now, the thing that we have to be careful of is most of these are copyright images. So what we can do is we can do an advanced search. Yeah, and we can also do so let's do an advanced search. And so here it is. We want, so any type of image, well, we want a photo. And in terms of usage rights at the bottom here, we want something that says a Creative Commons license. Basically, we're free to use it, or a copyright-free license. Yeah, so there it is. And so now we have images that are more likely to be Creative Commons licenses, as you can see here. Yeah. So we're now on this page of images. So let's open this image that I've just done here, this one here. And what we should do is go to the actual page, and then you can see here it says some rights reserved. So you look for somewhere where it talks about copyright, and you can see here attribution 2.0 generic. What this means is you can share and copy it, you can adapt it, mix it, but you do need to attribute. So you need to say you must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, or indicate if changes were made. So what you need to do here is you would need to link to this person and their web page here and say that this is from this person here, Visit Greenwich. Yeah, so it's actually an organization, it seems to be, and so you can use it, but you then have to source it. So you can't imply that this was a photograph that you had created or taken yourself. Okay, so again, you can do that with any type of thing. So if I was doing something like, I don't know, food on a table, as I said, the more kind of relevant to your topic you can get, the better it will be. So again, let's say this looks nice, I wanted to use that. I'd go onto that website, and this seems to be a free download. There does not seem to be any photos are free to even for commercial use, and royalty is not necessary. So this is it. So this seems to be a free LibreShot seems to be a free images website. So really important to have a look at this, where the photo comes from and whether you're allowed to use these photos. And as you can see here, some of these photos are paid, and therefore they have a little watermark inside. So if you were to use it, you'd have this really ugly thing staying there. So please don't use photos like this. Please use nice photos that are real, and ideally ones that you have taken and that you can say that one of the members of your team has taken it. Okay, I think that's it from my side. I will now leave it. If you have any questions, please, we can come back to that in the teaching sessions. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short guide. Look forward to seeing your creations in a few weeks' time. Bye-bye.